I graduated in 2017. At the time, I was actually working in a welding shop and was absolutely miserable doing that, and was just looking for a change. And I'd already come through the RTBN program, and I was looking for a new job. And I was looking at a few different locations and came across one of the people that worked there. It was like the DNMP program, and that kind of set me up for the success that, that person had in their career. So I started to look into it myself, and I'm like, okay, this looks like something that's going to be really, really good for me. Coming out of the RTBN program, I had a good handle on like audio, but not much else. So it was a very defined career path. Whereas with the DNMP program, it was more generalized, and that was what I was looking for, to just broaden that skill set. Again, having come through that program previously, I had a little bit of an understanding of the Adobe softwares, specifically using Adobe Audition. I mean, when I came through, that was predating the Creative Cloud stuff by several years. So I didn't really have a good understanding of anything outside of that. So my first introduction to things like Photoshop and Illustrator and even Premiere was when I took the program. The second floor over on the Thomas Riley building, I would spend a lot of time over there just because I would go to the second cup, and that was right there. So down the elevator, second cup, back upstairs. And generally speaking, I found that area to be the most quiet because most of the trade stuff, they start a little bit earlier. So then by the early afternoon, they're usually off campus, and you can go over there and it's pretty quiet to work. Thing that helped me the most was finding those like little projects or those like things that weren't necessarily tied to a class, but I was watching along with something in class and got an idea, and just pulling that thread is kind of what I call it. So it could be something as simple as I was going through like my rich media course, and I saw a technique and I was like, oh hey, that's pretty cool. So just grabbing that and just having that desire, that drive to find that little bit extra, I found to be super helpful. Absolutely. Without the program, I mean, obviously I wouldn't be where I am right now. There was a lot of skill development that helped out with that. I found my industry job through the program. So just taking that time to go and get that formal education definitely set me up in a way that has helped me for the rest of my career. I mean, for myself, it was pretty easy in the sense that I ended up getting hired out of my practicum. So I already kind of had that job. I already had that understanding of the company that I was going into. It was a little difficult in the sense that, like, from a personal standpoint, I still had my classes. I had that job that I was working. I had my part-time job that I was working on weekends to kind of pay my way. And plus I was also tutoring at the same time. So that end of it was a little bit busy, but that was just, me taking on too much. I would honestly say that the options are almost limitless. The base of knowledge that you get coming out of the program, you can head in so many different directions. Like, there's obviously, the ones that everyone thinks of getting into, like doing graphic design, doing into video, doing into photography. Things that maybe don't get as thought of would be like getting into doing social media management. Whether that even be for yourself, whether that be for another company, coming out of this program, if you wanted to just be an influencer, you now have all of those skills necessary to become an influencer. Things that are starting to appear more in the markets, like streaming. coming out of the DNMP program, you have all those skills that you need to become like a successful streamer. You can build your own brand. You can do all this stuff in your own living room and set yourself up way better than a lot of these other people that are starting out because you have that skill set. I think that there is, especially with the way that the world is heading coming out of COVID. There is going to be that need. People want that content. People's lives are now more online than they ever have been. And especially in Calgary, around the time of COVID, you saw a lot of these creative businesses just vanish overnight. There was just so many companies that were just like right at that edge that ceased to exist in the first couple of months. And now that we're coming out of that, I think that there is a little bit of that vacuum of there's now more work than there is people to do the work. So it's a really good time to be heading into that industry because of the events of the last few years. You know, everyone's trying to get back to normal, and, you know, getting back to business is getting back to normal. Yeah, the other thing is like Calgary is actually kind of turning into a bit of a hub. You know, you're starting to see some of these larger companies actually set themselves up in the city. So to be already prepared for that and, you know, aware that these companies are coming in, you're going to be in a much better position to apply for those jobs and potentially get those jobs, having these skill sets already developed than if you're like, oh wait, I just heard that person or that company is coming here, I want to work there, and then starting from zero. So